Hi, Anna. Welcome to our Women Leadership interview series. We're very happy that you're here.
Thanks, Joyce. Happy to join you.
So tell us about first, what school did you graduate from the University of Chicago?
So I graduated from the law school and I graduated in 1993. So this is a big year for me. It's the 30th reunion year.
That's amazing.
Yep.
What was one of your distinct memories walking Hyde Park or at the University of Chicago?
Just exactly how cold it was. Um, so I think it's one of the coldest uh, periods I experienced was my first year of law school, the whole period from December to March. But I made wonderful friends. And one of the great things about the law school is that it's a relatively small school as far as law schools go. And so I had just marvelous classmates, and you get to know everybody in your year and stay with them, obviously, through your first year, which brings you very close together and wonderful, wonderful professors. So that certainly compensated for the cold and the gray that first winter.
Many people remember the weather. I certainly do as well. But also kind of the way that the school impart education and so forth. So how has University of Chicago influenced your way of thinking and perhaps your professional development?
So I loved the law school and my time at the law school, and I always think back to all of the learnings. I particularly enjoyed elements of the law, which was one of the classes you take as a first year. And at the time, that was taught by Professor Sunstein, incredibly memorable, although there were so many memorable professors and classes. But probably what most stands out was and is still the intellectual rigor that the professors held us all to, and just the logic, the discipline, the very high standard in terms of our discussions and debate in classes, and I really appreciated that. And for all these years, I've remained very, very involved with the school through the visiting committee, now the advisory council. And one of the things that I always appreciate when I go to meetings is that same sense of intellectual curiosity and debate about important issues.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for all the things you're doing, continue to do with University of Chicago and the law school. So let's talk about where you are now. Tell us what you do, Anna.
So I'm a securities and derivatives lawyer, and I'm a partner in the New York office of Mayor Brown, and the co-head of the firm's Global Capital Markets Group, and spend my time working with companies as well as with the investment banks that help those companies finance. And that can be in the private markets as well as the public markets, as well as help investment banks when they're acting as dealers in connection with derivatives transactions or structured products transactions.
And in the world that you immerse yourself in professionally, how do you kind of describe kind of the leadership trajectory for women? I mean, you have a very important role working with many different clients. What motivates you? What do you think made you successful?
Certainly, uh, my family and my work ethic. My parents were Cuban, and their experience of leaving Cuba after Castro and seeing them start all over and their tremendous ambition and commitment to rebuilding and making a path for us, for my brothers, my sister, and me, and always emphasizing the value of education. All of that instilled in me from very early on, that the value of hard work, the value of education. So all of those things, and of course, seeking out the best opportunities. So whether that was for high school, college, or of course the law school at the University of Chicago.
And for the team that you work with or you manage, how do you motivate them? How do you impart leadership?
Hopefully setting a good example, and demonstrating through my example that there isn't anything that I'm going to ask them to do ever that I wouldn't do myself. And there isn't anything that I wouldn't, no amount of effort on my part that is too much in terms of making sure that they have what they need to succeed, and always trying to create a path for them in terms of putting them forward, giving them opportunities, whether it's opportunities from a business development perspective, from exposing them to new and challenging deals, pushing them forward when there are opportunities for speaking, for writing, for teaching, all of those things, making sure that they understand how important it is to take a very active role in the development of their own career, but knowing as well that they have support from the firm and support from me for all of that.
That's great. One more question about your career, and then we'll ask you a fun question. What
Okay.
impact did University of Chicago have on your career, or kind of in general, career of people in law? What differentiates the University of Chicago law graduates, perhaps from others?
Well, certainly I went to the University of Chicago knowing that I wanted to focus on transactional work, and the focus on law and economics certainly appealed to me. At first, I thought I wanted to be a tax lawyer, and also had an absolutely wonderful and memorable tax professor at the University of Chicago. But again, I go back to the same thing, the level of inquiry in classes, the level of pushing oneself, the curiosity and the passion for learning, all of that. And, that is in essence what keeps me doing what I'm doing, and keeps me excited all these years about doing what I'm doing. I still love learning. I still love doing new deals. I still love coming up with new financial products and new structures. And hopefully clients see that and sense that, and really enjoy just working with clients in different businesses, learning about their businesses. And so it's that enthusiasm um, for learning and dedication to it, I hope, that Chicago cultivated in me, and I think continues to do in other generations. And I see that when we recruit from University of Chicago.
Switching gears, Anna, just a little bit. I think you being a lifelong New Yorker, what's one thing you like to do in New York?
Um, Eat food from food trucks and sample food trucks. So I'm a little bit of a food truck aficionado, and I'm always getting recommendations as a result from friends, from clients, for new and different foods. So that's certainly something that I enjoy.
We'll have to get your recommendation
Okay.
someday.
Yep.
The last question is your advice for alumni, especially now as the market isn't doing very well. But in general, what advice would you give to alumni graduating from law school or alumni who are mid-career, whether in law or outside of law?
Certainly to stick with what they enjoy doing, what they like doing. I think there's a lot of energy that comes from doing something that you love. I know that sounds very trite, but it is definitely what keeps me going. And staying in touch with people. I think obviously we're doing this by Zoom, Joyce, but I look forward to meeting you in person. There is no substitute to spending time in person with people and staying in touch with people. And I think that during the pandemic, a lot of us let that go. And I think it's very important, particularly in, if you're starting out in any profession, to cultivate those relationships and have it be personal. Those relationships don't necessarily form by email or text. And it's really important to invest in that.
That's great advice, Anna. And thank you so much for all the things you have done and continue to do to cultivate those relationships for the University of Chicago network. And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit more about your story and leadership.
Thanks, Joyce.